Well, hello everyone, and they have announced Total War Warhammer 3. I knew it was coming today, and yet I still about fell off my chair in excitement. And I don't mind telling you, like, my eyes were welling up and there was tears on my cheeks by the time that trailer finished. It was... You know what, just in case any of you haven't seen it, let's roll the trailer now and get that out of the way so you can watch the trailer right now, and then we'll get to talking more about it afterwards. So here's the trailer.
Peggy 16.
Death is like the winter chill. No door can keep it from us. And summer yet may bloom again, though ice be all upon us.
My child, there is so much to tell you, that I have run out of time. The sacrifice I made was not enough. The dark gods still feed on our transgressions. Corruption. Obsession. Deceit. Rage. You must face these demons.
Right, so you have seen the trailer. Yeah, so what do we actually know? We don't know much, obviously, at this point. We know it's Total War Warhammer 3. We've been known Total War Warhammer 3 has been in the works for a while, and we've been known the last week or so. See, I've been teasing it a wee bit more each day, especially with their star, what do you call them? Astronomers look at them, stars, they form patterns, and they're like, that's the this, and that's the Big Dipper. Constellations. Constellations? Constellations? I think that's the word I'm looking for. But my mind's all just Warhammer 3 at the moment. Warhammer 3, Warhammer 3, Warhammer 3. We'll say constellations though. Constellations. So yes, they've been teasing it, and it's finally here. Release date! The most important piece of information. We don't know exactly, we just know it is late this year. I will be getting early access unless some weird reason CA don't like me anymore and it's untaken away. So I will be getting early access, so I will be able to bring you footage early. No idea, because we don't have a release date or anything like that. I can't even guess when that's going to be or what, but just know I'll be able to show you footage before the game's released so you can make your decision informed. Whether you want to purchase or not is one of the best things about early access, is letting you have as much information as possible. You get to see gameplay and that sort of stuff, and you can be like, you know what, yeah, I do want this game, or you know what, no. But probably. Especially in this case it's probably. Right, but, so that's release date. Area of the map is obviously going to be mainly focused around Kislev. From the trailer, Kislev seems to be the main faction of this game. There's not a lot of information on the Steam page at all at the moment. They have confirmed that once again there will be a pre-order bonus DLC, and they normally, like, as far as memory served, at least since Warhammer 1, they've always said as long as you purchase within the first week or two, so if you want to wait until full reviews are out and everything before you purchase the game, they still let you get the pre-order bonus, so you don't need to like pre-order this second if you want that pre-order bonus free DLC. I don't want to get into a big debate whether DLC are a good or a bad thing. I think especially Day 1 DLC, I know a lot of people hate Day 1 DLC, but as long as it's just extra content, because Sega are the publisher here, and they give Creative Assembly a budget to make the game, then they go, right, to try and push pre-orders, we're giving you another budget to make a Day 1 DLC, and that allows for extra content, so the DLC factions are technically extra contents. If they didn't exist, that content wouldn't exist. Now, Day 1 DLC when it's bad is when it's not like that, and it's content to go, right, here's the game we're making, we're going to cut this bit off, and then we're going to sell it as DLC. Like, that's when Day 1 DLC is bad. But when it is just enrichment, extra content, and even people that don't pre-order, it's going to make their games better because there's an extra faction there for them to fight. Yeah, okay, right. So that's why I don't think Day 1 DLC is bad in this case. No, I don't think it's always good, but in this case, I think it is good. Because it'd be either that or combine the budgets into one and it'd just make the base game even more expensive, which would then, you're just cutting your nose off to spite your face, because some people wouldn't want to pay the extra and get both, and then you wouldn't get that wee bit extra content for free. Right. I've talked too much about DLC. But apart from that, the only sort of sure facts we know is Kislev and Demons are going to be a faction. One of the things I'm going to be really interested to see is if the Demons are all in one faction, like a Demons faction, and then maybe the type of Greater Demons is their different types of lords they can recruit, and then like in Total War Warhammer 2's style, they get different buffs in their trees that buff their specific troop types. Like a Bloodthirster might get buffs to the Bloodletters, Bloodletters, and the Corn Hound things, and whereas a Great Unclean One might get bonuses to Plague Bearers. And is that all going to be one faction though, kind of like Chaos is in the game at the moment, or is it going to be split into Nurgle is a faction, Zinch is a faction, Slanesh is a faction, Khorne is a faction? I think it is probably going to be the latter looking at it, because they did do a very, like the trailer you've seen it where it was shown each, like a glimpse of each of the Greater Demons, starting off with the Great Unclean One. They did show, it made an emphasis to show each of the Chaos Gods. That leads me to believe that we're going to get Kislev as a fully playable faction, obviously, which is going to be your sort of good guys, the centering around for this Warhammer 3. And then we're going to have the 4 Chaos factions as the other one. Maybe they'll be able to dabble, maybe like a Khorne army can get a couple of Nurgle units. Nurgle and Slanesh do not get on well at all, and there's a couple of rivalries amongst Chaos, so maybe there's not much crossover, maybe there's a wee bit of crossover. I don't know, we're just going to need to wait and see. There's lots of ways they could go with it. So apart from those ones, we are almost definitely at some point, highly chances, even the DLC faction that comes free with it, we are going to see Ogre Kingdoms. Now, Ogre Kingdoms, that is the thing. That was one of the armies I played back on the tabletop. I am super excited to play them. Imagine having your main street infantry be a unit that, like, the unit mass size is that of like a troll. It's so Ogre Kingdoms are definitely going to be coming at some point. Doesn't look like they're going to be in the base game. It's possible for them to be the expansion. Not expansion. The day one DLC. It's possible they're going to get the day one. The day one DLC. In fact, there's good odds in that. And if they're not, they're almost definitely going to be in it at some point. Like, worst case scenario, they're like Wood Elves were for Total War Warhammer 1, where the area's there, but it's just like unreachable. It's considered like impassable terrain until the boom, here's the DLC. So yeah. So that's those factions. Expansions to the map is obviously going to expand more into the Chaos Waste to the east and probably go all the way up to the Mountains of Morn, where the Ogre Kingdoms are. There's speculation that it could go even further into like what was it? Is it India? Can't remember, but it's basically the Total War Warhammer version of India, and the factions we could see there. But I think that's pretty improbable because there's not a lot of source material from Games Workshop on that front. There is bits, drips and drabs, but there's not an awful lot. Chaos Dwarves are a very distinct possibility as well, especially with the Day 1 DLC. High chance that that could be Chaos Dwarves as a faction. Chaos Dwarves... They've not been a playable faction. I can't remember what edition, but it was a long time. Them and the Dogs of War used to be their own faction in the tabletop game. And when CA originally announced Total War Warhammer 1, 2 and 3, because they announced that there were going to be free games at least, which probably just going to be the free at least for now, they did say one extra faction. Now, I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head, because I've just literally, like, it's just been announced. I just want to get this video up there ASAP. But I think there were 16 tabletop factions. And then, but CA said, we'll make sure we get all 17 factions in eventually, at least, was their wording when they were making Total War Warhammer 1. And everyone was like, was that a slip of the tongue? Did they mean to say one extra? Because there was only the 16, like, I think it was 16. Don't quote me on the number here, but I'm 100% sure on the one extra, they did say one extra. And people were like, is that Dogs of War? Is that Chaos Dwarfs? Is that Kislev? Which one are they considering to be the one extra? And they have since included factions that are even more minor than that, like such as the Vampire Coasts, the Pirates, that sort of stuff. And so these factions were never tabletop like factions, which is a good argument for actually the India equivalent, because we've got the Pirate Coast, but there's been more lore on the Pirate Coast as far as I'm aware than there is on India stuff. Maybe I'm just not aware of the India stuff, to be honest, but I knew of a relatively okay amount for the Vampire Coast existing. I was leading on to a point, not plot point, but you know what I mean. Oh, there's just so much I need to ramble about for this. It's insane. What was I talking about? I'm gonna pause for a second. Not 100% sure. I think I was talking about just the Chaos Dwarves and that, and their likelihood. So there's really good odds on getting Chaos Dwarves at some point in this game. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it more, it's going to almost definitely be Nurgle as a faction, Khorne as a faction, and obviously there's going to be factions within those factions. Like, I mean faction as in Empire is a single faction, but then obviously there's lots of different starting points within Empire for different legendary lords. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And yeah, Kislev, it's going to be fun, but for me, Ogre Kingdoms is what's got me really excited. I'm really hoping they're the day one DLC, because if they are, that is definitely going to be my first playthrough, and probably the 20th playthrough and the 40th playthrough. I'm probably going to be playing them one hell of a lot, unless for some reason I don't particularly like their campaign. I don't think there's any more confirmed information. Like, I could go on and speculate more, but there's not really a lot to go on. I'm really interested in seeing where this goes in the future. So yes, those have been my sort of hyped ramblings after just seeing the trailer there. I hope you are all as hyped as me. This is going to be amazing. I'll see you all in the Let's Plays. Bye. One last thing I forgot to point out. I remembered it just as I was finished. I seem to notice a specific someone that we've not seen specifically since Warhammer 1. Is it just me, or is a certain advisor to your campaign in Total War Warhammer 1? He looks very similar, don't you think? That certain advisor that turned out to be, I don't know, a certain Chaos Greater Demon. Beginning with S. Well, I'm pretty sure CA made up this Greater Demon, but yes, the guy at the end, I'm pretty sure I know who he is. He looks very similar. He looks a wee bit healthier than he did back in Warhammer 1. So that's interesting. See you all next time. Bye.